friends? We're back. Coming to you live, June 26, 2022. Virtual Strangers, episode 157. I, of course, am your host, Wes. With me, as always, is my good friend, Roots. Roots, how's this Sunday afternoon treating you?
Really good, actually. I feel good. I don't feel sick at all. I don't say I rebuke it. Yeah, I was just saying to somebody in the chat, there's nothing like feeling like crap for a couple weeks to really make you appreciate the small stuff. And so even just feeling good is a small thing, really.
Yeah, nothing like a bad day to put things in perspective, right? Or a bad week, bad couple weeks, I guess, would be the more accurate description, right?
Yeah, it was just a couple, like one thing after the next, but everything happens for a reason, all for the glory of God. And I figured out what the reasons were, and I'm shifting and adjusting, and I just feel really good. And so I'm really psyched to talk about VR, because VR is awesome, right?
Yeah, man. I'm glad you're feeling better. I'm feeling pretty good myself, and yeah, man, I'm excited. We've got a pretty good show lined up today, if I do say so myself, and a bit of a different show, right? Something a little different than what we typically do here. But watching the newswire this past week, something very obvious came into view, and I don't see anyone talking about it, Roots. So that's what we're going to do here. We're going to kind of point it out and say, hey, look at that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, anyway, we're going to talk a little bit about the state of VR as it stands halfway through calendar year 22. We've been talking about what over the past few weeks. What's this year going to be remembered for? There's not really a lot that we can point to that has happened. Now, obviously, PSVR 2 has been revealed, and there's been a few other little things like that haven't happened yet. But what's the year going to be remembered for in terms of things that have happened? And we were kind of speculating that maybe this would go down as the year of the mods, because that's probably the most significant thing that's happened in gaming. But in terms of the VR industry, the landscape is shifting before our very eyes. And that's what we're going to talk about here today. And I thought, since we were going to be talking about it, we might as well take the scenic route, right? The way we typically like to do, and start at the beginning and lend a little perspective. So when we finally do get to the point we're driving at, that makes a little bit more sense to people. So took a little time putting this thing together this morning, but I'm looking forward to running through it with you all here today. Looks like the chat is filling out here nicely. Onakazi's in there asking about the update to Legendary Tales. We're not going to be talking about Legendary Tales today, but you're absolutely right. The developer, after a fairly lengthy hiatus, posted an update on their Discord a couple of days ago. It's again we've been talking about getting back into quite a bit lately, haven't we, Roots?
Yeah, absolutely. And if there's that much of an update, we should definitely do it for sure. I had a lot of fun. Although it was, it was early on. And so now I am really intrigued to see how much work they've done since then. So
Yeah. So more to come on that for sure. If you haven't already, be sure you have clicked the subscribe button and the bell. You know how we roll. We could end up in Legendary Tales this Wednesday live. That's just how we do it.
Yeah.
Anyway, we got a lot to go over today, and not much time here. My friend Roots has prior engagements that he has to attend to after the show, so we're going to try not to dilly-dally too much. Let's say hello to our friends in chat. Tasselhoff with us. What's up, friend? Our brother Eric is here as well. What's up? Good to see you. Bluebell is here, as is Hack, the Game Cat. What's up, friends? Onakazi here. We already said hello to. I'm not even know how to pronounce that. Kawa for now. Kawa for now. Hey, how's it going, friend? Thanks for joining us. John Tatum is here. Hello, friend. Super James Knight Says, hope you all are enjoying this Sunday. So far, so good, bro. Hope that you're enjoying your Sunday. Ryan Brannon is here. O'Doyle 59 is here. What's up? Alex VR, what's up, friend? Good to see you. Zayla Maru joining us. Hello, hello. D-Rail's here. Good to see you, D-Rail. Mind Jive in the chat as well. Vargosoft is here. Hello. Mike Newton, as usual, in the chat. Who else? Felipe believes in a choice. Laras says, howdy, y'all. What's up, Felipe? Good to see you, friend. And of course, rounding it out up at the very tippy top, VR Spry Guy first, as usual. Spry Guy in the chat up there. Good to see you, sir.
I didn't even try anymore. Trying to beat him. He even beats me to it, and he shouldn't be.
That guy's on it, bro. He's on it. You have no chance.
That's all right.
Mepper joining us. What's good to see you, Mepper, as is Greg's VR. Good to see you, friend. A lot of old friends in the chat today. A lot of familiar faces. Good to see you guys. Didn't know how many people were going to catch the short notice, as we went live a little earlier today than we have been, with a little bit shorter notice than we typically do. So it's good to see people got the notification. Good to see that YouTube got the notification out there. That's kind of really the thing, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I'll let you know who needs to check their bell too. If you end up missing this for some reason, your bell probably got unchecked.
Right. If you're watching this tomorrow, check the bell, bro.
Yeah.
Probably need to ring it. Chris9989 joining us, sliding in here just as we are getting started. And why don't we do that, Roots? Why don't we get started talking about the state of VR? Because again, some fairly significant changes taking place right now in the VR industry. And it's still unclear what those changes are going to mean for us long term. But I thought we should start by taking a look back at the relatively short history of consumer VR. And we're just going to run down through this. So you guys, those of you who think that there's an hour-long dissertation about to take place on stuff that you already know, don't worry about it. We're just touching on it on a few things for perspective's sake. For example, Roots, let's talk about where we were when we started this channel just a little over 3 years ago. VR was in a very different place then than it was today. And despite, a lot of hype around consumer VR when it first launched, after a couple years, it had tailed off, and consumer adoption wasn't quite as high as everyone thought it would be. The equipment was very expensive, kind of cumbersome to deal with, and the public didn't just pick it up and run with it the way that the industry and the investors expected it to. So when we started this channel, Roots, it was not uncommon for the conversation around the VR industry to be, is VR dead? And most people outside of our bubble at that time probably would have said, yeah, that VR is dead, right?
Yeah, absolutely. They didn't even know what was going on. And in a lot of ways, they were, it's kind of weird looking back and feeling this way, but they kind of were right in a lot of ways, comparatively. And 3 years down the road, it's like, shit, what was going on back there? It's just crazy. It's so crazy how quickly things are moving.
Yeah, and that's kind of the point here with me even bringing this up, is that it really wasn't that long ago. 3 years is not a long time. Obviously a little bit longer in tech years, but still, it's just 3 years. 3 years removed from VR being dead in the minds of most tech analysts. Now, of course, those of us who consider ourselves to be VR enthusiasts, those of us inside the bubble, we knew it wasn't dead then because we knew that the tech itself is so profoundly awesome that it would never be denied. Like, it would eventually catch on. It was just a matter of time before the general public was able to interact with the technology. And really, that's all it takes. People getting in the headset, trying it out. And while, everyone isn't always converted the vast majority of the people who try it love it, and and I think that's a large part of the reason that the attitude about VR today is much different than it was then, is because a lot of people at this point now have interacted with the tech and have tried it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's what's crazy is just kind of going back looking at these articles, how quickly big companies were like, let's do it, and then they're like, fuck this, and then they're like, yeah, let's go. It's like they don't know what's happening. I feel like they're getting pulled in all these different directions, and now they're getting pulled in the correct way, which is good.
Everybody, nobody wants to be last when you talk about investment in business. You always want to get in as early as you possibly can, because the earlier you get in, the more profitable it tends to be for you, right? So these people, especially in the tech space, they tend to change with the wind, and when VR is the next big thing, everybody's going all in. When VR is dead, then everybody's pulling out, right?
Yeah.
Um, and we've seen a lot of companies, both hardware manufacturers and software development companies that have kind of gone belly up since the early days of VR, because they weren't able to stick it out kind of through the tumultuous times, the uncertainty that came in the early days. But fortunately, we're not there anymore. As this next group of headlines will show you, we are in a very different place now than we were then. And I think as we look at these headlines, we're going to find an underlying reason that we all already know why things are so different now than they were then. But the marketplace is very different. As you can see here, this article was published exactly a year, almost to the day, over the article that we just saw that was asking, is VR dead? So 1 year later, over 100 VR games have exceeded $1 million in revenue. And I remember when Beat Saber hit $1 million, man, what a big deal that was. To consider that this was the beginning of 2020. And then at that point, we had already had over 100 VR games that had reached that milestone. That's a pretty quick change in fortune for software developers in the VR space, isn't it?
Yeah, it was like overnight almost. You know what I mean? And that's what was crazy was what you were saying earlier, how a lot of companies couldn't stay or stick around long enough. And I'm like, fuck, it's only a few years. You know what I mean? Can you imagine being involved in something that has that short a lifespan, right? As far as like what you're able to sustain, and then you like go belly up, and then a year later things really blow up. And I don't know, it's just crazy. It's got to be such a hard thing for a lot of these companies and developers.
Well, especially on the software side, because when you talk about VR studios and game developers, especially the ones who carried us through the early days, we're not talking about big companies here. We're talking about small teams of independent developers who basically went all in with what little they had and bet on VR. The problem is that most of them got in too early. You've got to be able to sustain slow times to find long-term success, and quite a few of these studios, some of which very talented, very capable, just didn't have the means monetarily to wait until the next generation had arrived. So hopefully we're going to start to see these guys kind of move their way back in, moving forward, assuming, of course, that the growth continues as it is expected to do. But you can see a very different picture being painted here with this article. 100 games that have exceeded 1 million in revenue. So what's responsible for such a shocking change in the VR marketplace in terms of software, the software marketplace? I think the next headline gives us a little bit of clue to that, as 60 Oculus virtual reality titles have generated more than $1 million in revenue. So this is an article that came a little bit later than the last one, detailing that specifically 60 Oculus titles have generated more than 1 million in revenue. And what I'm basically driving at here is the reason in the turnaround in the market. Everyone knows it was the advent of standalone VR, cheap, affordable headsets that are easy to use. Um, and the advertising that went with that, it wasn't just the hardware. It was kind of a perfect storm that Meta built. You know, selling hardware at a loss, that's easy for people to use, and then putting it out there in the mainstream consciousness so people would even think to want to try this. It was actually a pretty profound thing for the VR industry. It literally, uh, brought it back from the dead. And I think a lot of the success, most of the success that we're seeing here today, can be attributed to just that.
It's crazy how out of touch the VR before this moment in time, the VR market was as far as advertisement. Like it was like didn't exist, right? And then all of a sudden, Meta hit the scene, Quest 2, and they marketed it very well. And they didn't even do it in a way that cost them much money. They used their own platform. Very
Well,
very
they
good.
sent headsets to people with a lot of influence. You see all of a sudden celebrities playing Quest on their Instagram. You see people playing Beat Saber on the Tonight Show. Things like this. I mean, I've seen Dana White playing boxing in VR. Like they were very smart how they went about it, uh, uh, making sure that their new platform kind of pervaded popular culture as they were trying to build it. Um, and as we scroll through the next few headlines, we can see what kind of an impact affordable standalone VR has had. The next one says that analysts estimate that Quest 2 has sold almost 15 million units. So before Oculus Quest was a thing, the industry driver by far was PlayStation VR. PSVR uh, was the market leader by a mile. Like PCVR, I think they at the end there they had doubled up on the PCVR headsets that were out there. Over 5 million sold, and that was considered a success for PSVR 1. Well, we see here the Oculus Quest 2 has tripled up on that in a fraction of the time. And, you're talking about a third of the lifespan of PSVR roots and tripling the sales figures. I mean, that's a pretty profound jump in business, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. They made it accessible, like you said. Uh, Even PlayStation VR, you still needed the console, right? And so like
Right.
it was just so cheap. I talk to people every day. $300. They're like, oh my god, I'm in, and then they really are in. Next time I talk to them, they're telling me about which game they're playing. So it's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, and we're starting to see now that this this interest that Meta and Quest has generated for VR, we're starting to see that trickle into the other platforms and the other forms of VR that are out there as well, as this next headline points to. VR usage on Steam jumps to an all time high. This is a brand new headline. It came out last month. We saw more people playing VR on Steam than we ever had before. And as we alluded to at the top of the episode, Roots, it's not like there's a bunch of big name titles that have come out this year that's driving that adoption. It's not. I mean, the mods, I'm sure, are to some extent. But if you look at the Steam hardware survey, um, well over half of the headsets on Steam are Oculus headsets, and about half overall are Quest 2. So I think it's pretty obvious that the onset of standalone affordable VR is having a positive impact also on PC VR as it's kind of bringing people back to the table with their cheap affordable hardware.
Absolutely. Same reason. I was just talking to a guy about the Elden Ring mod yesterday, and said he's going to pick up an Oculus Quest 2. Now, he didn't know that you could play that there was a mod for it, and that it was that easy for the PCVR. And so, even though if somebody has a gaming computer, they may not have in their mind, especially that they're thinking index, even with a $700 deal from GameStop, that's $700. There's $300, bro, and you can do it wireless. Fuck, it's just crazy.
Yeah, yeah, I know. It really has been a game changer on so many levels. So let's take a step back here and just look at what has happened here. You've had Meta stepping in with their big fat pocketbook and selling headsets at a loss. Why? Why are they doing that, Roots? Well, I mean, they're doing that to plant the seeds, right? They obviously have long-term plans for VR that go well beyond Quest and well beyond gaming. But you have to start somewhere, and if the industry isn't going to do it for you, you've got to just jump in and do it yourself. So we see Valve putting their money where their mouth is and literally investing billions of dollars into getting the VR industry off of the ground. And now that we've seen that they've successfully done that, they announced at Connect this past October the Metaverse, and that's kind of what this next headline plays at. Is now that the Metaverse has arrived and the concept has been put forth by Zuckerberg. VR is kind of the next big thing all over again. It's the next big thing again, and everybody's kind of racing now to carve out their share of the Metaverse.
Yeah, that's crazy. It's like a mad rush. Like I said, they've decided we're done. We're not even going to do it, and then all of a sudden oh shit, what's happening? Sometimes I think the people in the tech industry are like the least knowledgeable of what's going on because they're so focused on their niche, right, or whatever they're doing, and everything else is still going on, right? So.
Right. Well, I mean, these people, a lot of them are just trend watchers. They're not experts at all. No, sure. What they're experts in is trading, right? There's nothing to do with tech. Anyway, so that's pretty much where we stand here. I do want to take a look at one more headline before we move ahead. This article actually has quite a bit of interesting information. This article actually is from Nasdaq.com, so this is pretty cold, hard investment related stuff here. But it's a good indicator of where we stand right now as people scramble to cut out their piece of the metaverse. And I'm going to scroll down just a little bit here to where it says the meta opportunity. The immediate value proposition for this emerging technology is in the realm of immersive VR gaming and entertainment. This initial use case of the metaverse will lay the virtually aesthetic groundwork necessary to conquer more advanced challenges. Metaverse technology opens an entirely new digital economy that is yet to be tapped, and despite its nascency, it is expected to generate as much as $100 billion in annual revenue by the end of this year. So think about that, Roots. 3 years ago, we're talking VR is dead. 3 years later, here we are reading from NASDAQ that VR, AR, XR technology is expected to generate $100 billion in revenue this year.
Yeah, there's the scramble. It's the gold rush, right? You want, or at least you want to be, like you've said, the ground floor. Everybody's kind of on the ground floor, and you don't want to be on the ground floor. You want to jump in now and catapult up as quickly as possible. And it's a great time to get in.
The article goes on to state that Citi went as far as to claim the metaverse market could reach as high as $13 trillion by the end of the decade. Morgan Stanley expressed a similar 2030 outlook of $8 trillion, with half of that coming from burgeoning tech demand in China. Another industry expert predicted the metaverse could reach $30 trillion within the next decade. So I think it's pretty obvious why we included this article in at the end of where we are. Um, the contrast couldn't be greater. Could it roots from where we were to where we are now? It certainly seems right now that the metaverse is kind of the next big thing.
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of money that projected to be in this this field, and 3 years ago, people were like, they didn't want to be attached to it. Even if they were doing something, sometimes they were kind of doing it behind the scenes. But most companies had kind of written it off, or at least from really throwing their money in there. It's crazy.
Absolutely. All right, so now let's get to what we're playing at. Let's talk about where we're going. So, as of today, the metaverse, the AR, XR, VR business is it's the next big thing. Investment coming in from all directions, and pretty much the vast majority of that excitement and new investment can be attributed directly to the onset of cheap, affordable, standalone VR, which was subsidized by Meta. So none of this happens without the evil empire basically throwing their bank account into a money pit and just investing and investing and investing, trying to get this thing to take root. And that's where we're at now. It is taking root. Everyone's buying into it, and that's where we are today. So where are we going? Well, first of all, we're moving into the next era for VR gaming and entertainment, which NASDAQ had just stated was in the short term where most of the potential profits lie. Of course, as the next headline shows, the big thing that everyone is excited about mid 2022 as VR gamers, PSVR 2. Sony announced earlier this year that PSVR 2 is under development and coming soon. And that's not just big news for people like us inside the VR bubble, but as we saw at CES, as we saw throughout the larger tech media this year, there's quite a great deal of excitement for PlayStation VR 2 in the near term, isn't there?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, some of the games, they're now actually, people are finding out that their IPs, their favorite IPs, are coming, and there's I don't know, man, it's just crazy.
Do you think Sony makes such a concerted effort with VR this generation if it weren't for the success that Meta had last generation?
I don't think so. Like, even with it's just crazy because I think Sony could have even done better with their generation if they would have invested some more technology as far as controller wise, but it still did so good. But yeah, I definitely
think they could have done better, but I mean, it's really quite remarkable. I don't, we all know Sony sells hardware at a loss so that they can recoup that investment by selling games. Games is where they really make their money, on software. What Meta's doing is similar but different because their investment strategy is more long term. They're like I said, they've pretty much been throwing their bank account into a pit, a never-ending pit with R&D. Not to mention the promotion of their various hardware platforms. That they spend a lot on R&D, as we're about to talk about here in a few minutes. I don't know that a company like Sony would be willing to kind of make the kind of investments that Meta has made without having some kind of a sure thing to back it up. Like Meta, they're just going on faith. They believe in the tech, and that's why they're they've invested so much money in it. I think Sony takes a little bit more of a business-minded approach, and I think that they need something a little more rock solid before they invest that kind of money in the tech. So while I do agree that they could have done a lot more with VR by upgrading their equipment sooner, I don't think that Sony would have ever done what Meta has done over the last couple of years for the VR industry.
Gonna go hand in hand, but yeah, I agree 100%. Sony was able to do what they did because, obviously they're smart the way they operate their company, and they utilize the Move controllers that were there already, and a lot of that technology without having to invest more. And like you said, whereas Meta, I mean, even though that was such an amazing technology with Sony, I don't think it has as even close to his chance much of what's going on now without Meta using all that money up that they used, and in R&D. There's
Yeah.
just they're working on so many problems, and we give them shit with Airlink not working or whatever it is. But they do keep adding to their headsets, and they're that like you said, that video we're going to be watching in a little bit shows you that they're not just focused on one thing. They're focused on several different things from an individual basis, right? Like they're working on one problem on this one thing, and it's just crazy. I never even knew. I guess maybe I'm just naive. I didn't think that of that aspect of R&D. I thought it was really cool.
The people in the chat saying that as we have changed scenes, that our audio has gone out of balance. I got loud, you got quiet.
Oh, that's weird. It looks like it. I mean, I,
I don't know. Oh, check 1 2, check 1 2, check 1 2, check 1 2. I can't see. I can't see it from here. But
check
check
check.
1 2, check 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 check. It looks all right, don't it?
Yeah, I mean everything looks good to me, but yeah, is what it is. We'll see. I guess we'll go into the next scene and we'll find out.
Right. Anyway, a lot of people upset. Certainly, now that VR has kind of been proven out as a concept by the monumental effort and investment from Meta, Sony's ready to jump in now, right? They're ready to invest not only in next gen hardware, but in next gen games. And that's why I feel like they're probably in the strongest position throughout the next 3 to 5 years to be the market leader in terms of consumer VR, especially in the entertainment realm. But a lot of people upset, that this is a wired headset that requires a console. A lot of people really wanted a company like Sony to step up and be a direct competitor to Meta. A lot of people don't like Meta. They don't like their business practices, and it doesn't matter how much we sit here and say that we pretty much have most of our success in the VR industry to think. We have them to thank for that. A lot of people are just stalwart against Meta, and it doesn't matter what they do, they'll never change their mind about that. So people want Meta to have a competitor. And while their interest in VR don't exactly line up with Meta's, there certainly are others that are going to be coming to the table in the coming years who will act as a more direct competitor to what Meta's trying to do in the VR space. Well, I mean, first of all, we've got Valve, right? Valve Deckard, as this article puts it, is a Steam Deck for your face. So a lot of people thinking that not only is Steam about to return to the VR hardware business, but they're bringing standalone roots when they come back. And this isn't going to be your this isn't going to be just another Oculus Quest. This is going to be something powerful and kind of high-end standalone VR.
Yeah, well, it sounds amazing. No wonder why GameStop is now doing the $700 refurbished, right? The old Valve is out and the Deckard's in. How far do you think we are away from this thing dropping? I mean, there's no...
I think if they're smart, they'll get it out next year with everyone else, right? All the other signs point to all the other headsets coming out next year. I don't think they want to be last to the market. So hopefully we see it next year, and hopefully it's not going to be crazy expensive. Although I don't think it's going to be a budget headset. I do think it's going to cost it probably $1,000 or more. But for what this thing is shaping up to be, that might not be such a bad price.
Yeah. Well, you get what you pay for. That sounds good to me. At $1,200 maybe, 1,000.
Yeah, and I think within our space, the gaming, you, you know, the VR gaming space, or you could call it VR enthusiast. I think that Valve Deckard. I mean, some people are more excited about Valve Deckard than they are PSVR 2. Now, I would not consider myself to be one of those people because for me, it's all about games, and Sony's where it's at in terms of gaming. But a lot of people are very excited about Deckard and what it's going to mean, kind of for PC VR. Because even though this is a standalone, it's said to be a standalone PC VR, so it's going to run like the full version of Steam on it and play Steam VR games, which is awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's going to be amazing. I'm still more excited about the PSVR 2 for the games.
Jim Hall says, I don't want a budget headset from Valve. That's Meta's job. Exactly. And I don't think you're going to get one for what it's worth. I think that Valve's going to deliver the way they always deliver.
Apple's job is to deliver a budget, cheap. No, I'm just kidding. We wish.
Funky Slaw says that Sony are the only ones going to deliver the content. I think that that's true in terms of what we've all always wanted, which is AAA VR gaming. Now, with that said, I don't think that Meta's just going to lie down on this. I think that there are quite a few compelling titles that are in development for Quest 2 and probably Quest 3. Let's be honest. There's probably Quest 3 games that are in development right now. I don't think they're just going to lie down, but I don't think anyone's going to be able to touch Sony in terms of the software that they bring to their platform. And that's the biggest reason why I'm more excited for PSVR 2 than I am for anything that might be coming from Valve, because Valve isn't going to support their headset with a whole catalog of exclusive software. We might get a new title from Valve, somewhere around the launch of the next headset, but it won't even be exclusive, right? You'll be able to play it on other VR headsets.
Yeah, it won't have DualSense controllers either, That's right. And you won't hear that from all the Valve enthusiasts that were like, man, these I can crush a can, bro. And it drifted, and I don't know, man. I'm just really excited about the controllers, whatever they're going to be called, Orbs, DualSense, man, whatever.
Right, I am too. I can't wait. I think we have well documented what we think about PSVR 2. It's the most exciting thing in our space right now, in my opinion.
Yeah, agreed.
But a lot of people want a more direct competitor for Meta and for the Quest product. And it keeps coming up in the chat. People keep saying it. Artful says Pico is the company to watch, Roots. And they're exactly right about that. As we look at our next headline, ByteDance's Pico Interactive is expanding to the U.S. to compete with Meta. ByteDance is a huge multinational corporation with the type of funding available to them that Meta has available to them. They're a very similar business structure with a very similar income. So ByteDance plans to be a player in consumer VR, and what they want to do with it much more closely aligns to what Meta's trying to do. They want to build a social platform. There was a headline that came out just this last week, Roots, that ByteDance is going to build their own metaverse, which I expect a lot of companies are going to be doing that. But when they say it, that they mean something along the lines of what Meta's doing. They plan to be a direct competitor, and they've got the bankroll and the technology to do it. I do think that Pico is a brand to watch going forward, not only worldwide but here domestically as well.
Oh yeah, they definitely have the funding. What'll be interesting is will they stick to it like Meta, like we just said? How Meta's obviously they've decided, and some companies are this way. They've decided that we're gonna make the technology. We are gonna do it. You know what I mean? We're gonna fucking do all. We're gonna surpass all the problems, and we're gonna make sure this is what we want to do. And they have a goal, and they're gonna do it. And then other headsets or companies want to put out a good product and make money, and which is, I mean, obviously, who doesn't want to do that? I think this is definitely good. Competition is good, and it sounds like a really good headset from what people are saying. So uh, I say more competition is good.
Yeah, and a few people in the chat, Vargosoft, Bluebell, pointing out that they don't understand why people have such big problems with Meta and their business practices, but all of a sudden ByteDance and Pico are okay. And you're absolutely right about that. Now, that is a topic for another day, but you're absolutely right. And maybe we can deep dive on that one day.
Yeah, there's definitely sketchiness to every company that's gets to that size for sure.
Absolutely. But you're saying you don't know if ByteDance is going to be willing to kind of put forth the kind of capital into VR that Meta has. Hopefully, they won't have to, because again, Meta was seeding the industry. They were planning it, trying to get it to take off, and it looks like it's taking off. Hopefully, another big investment like that won't be necessary. Hopefully, that the industry will be able to survive on its own legs, so to speak.
Absolutely.
What's up, Mickey Barrios? Thanks for joining us. Anyway, I don't think there's any greater indicator that VR actually is the next big thing than what the next headline points to. Apple is set to get in the game very soon, as their quote game-changing VR headset is now scheduled, according to industry analysts, to be revealed in January. So Q1 2023, Roots. We've heard this time frame before, haven't we?
Yeah. It seems like everything's lining right up together with multiple big companies for this time frame. It's definitely exciting, right? Like you said, now that Apple's finally, I mean, there's been people out there that until Apple gets in there, this is not, VR is not real. That's a gimmick. Oh, Apple's got one. Well, shit, dude, I'm in. Jim Hall, although he's already got his index in. But there's people that I think this is exciting news for sure.
Well, I mean, as far as like the common consumer goes, most people aren't going to be able to afford this headset. But what this is going to do is it's going to make VR cool, right? It's going to make it a luxury item, something that that the youth want because it's a status symbol. That's what we expect the Apple headset to be, assuming, of course, that the tech in it is good as we expect it to be. Obviously, if Apple comes to the table with cheap crap, then it's going to be a bad thing for all of us. But typically, the things that they bring to the market, while not at the cutting edge spec-wise, typically are very high quality with unique features, desirable products, typically coming from Apple. And it's a pretty big deal when this thing drops for everyone in the space.
Yeah, absolutely. And what I said earlier really does, I guess, in a sense, apply to Apple. You get what you pay for. You know, there's a reason why their stuff's expensive. It's even though it's not. I don't like their iOS. I mean, but they're definitely. I guarantee it's going to be cutting edge in a lot of ways. So it's going to be good for everybody.
Absolutely. I'm excited for it. I don't expect to ever own one. I probably will never have one on my face. Super excited for its arrival. I want to see what it has. I want to see what it can do. And I want to see what it's going to do for the VR industry as this headset comes, the Valve headset comes, Pico continues to expand, Meta continues on their path, and then, of course, PSVR 2, the cherry on top of all of it. We had expected 2022 to be a pivotal year for VR, and it looks like it just got pushed back a year. Looks like next year is going to be that big, groundbreaking year for our industry.
Yeah, everything got pushed. The whole world got delayed for a year. Scion says Apple headset magically becomes blurry after a year of use. Well, you never. You got to take it to the store, bro. The Apple store. They'll fix it magically within 15 minutes, and everything will be good for another year. It'll be good to go.
Yeah, all of a sudden the battery won't hold a charge at 13 months.
It's like, man, I just went out of warranty. I don't know what's happening.
All right, so we're finally getting pretty close to what I'm driving at. Really quickly, let's just recap where we were. We've gone in the lifespan of this show. We've gone from VR being dead to VR being the next big thing, largely because of the mountains of cash that Meta have invested into jump-starting the VR industry. And now as we move into 2023, we see players from all different ends of the tech spectrum jumping into VR, AR, XR, and the Metaverse, trying to carve out their piece of the pie before things get too rigid and established. And that's where we are today. But something curious happened last week, Roots. And I don't know if you caught this, but Daddy Zuck came out of his hole.
Today, I want to show you 4 VR research prototypes that we're working on to invent displays that are as vivid and realistic as the physical world, and much more advanced than traditional computer screens we use today. First, we need retinal resolution, and that means getting up towards about 60 pixels per degree. So we built Butterscotch. That's this prototype that lets you comfortably read the smallest letters on an eye chart. Second is focal depth. Normal monitors are a set distance away, so you just focus in one place. But in VR and AR, you need to be able to focus on things that are very close and very far from you. With varifocal and eye tracking tech, our half-tone prototypes let you focus on any object at any distance. We also need to fix optical distortions in software so quickly that it's imperceptible to the human eye. Next is high dynamic range. Nature is often 10 or 100 times brighter than modern HD TVs, and the highest end monitors. And we need those colors to be just as vivid to feel realistic. So we built Starburst, the first HDR VR system that we know of. The goal is to fit all of these technologies into a device that is lighter and thinner than anything that currently exists. So we built HoloCake 2, a working experimental device using holographic displays that can already play PC VR experiences. Now there's still a long way to go, but I'm excited to bring all this tech to our products in the coming years.
So Meta VR prototypes aim to make VR, quote, indistinguishable from reality. So I don't know if you caught this, Roots, but Facebook Reality Labs, or they may be called Meta Reality Labs now, had a press event this past week where they basically, for the first time ever, showed the general public their prototypes. And on display were prototypes from years past that we've known about for some time, namely the different iterations of Half Dome. But they've also showed us new prototypes that we didn't know were in existence. And basically, they broke it down. The human vision, real world vision, into every little aspect that makes reality seem real. And then they showed us for each aspect a working prototype that solves this problem for VR. So everything from depth of focus with the varifocal and brightness and color accuracy with the HDR, corrections for distortions, every aspect of the magic your brain does to allow you to see things in a very real way, Meta has pretty much tackled through their research and billions of dollars of investment and years of time spent. And each specific area that they have broken human vision down into, they now have albeit very expensive and not practical by a decade's time for consumer products. They do have working prototypes for each little aspect of your vision. I was absolutely amazed by what they showed this past week, and I loved every minute of it.
I just think it's crazy. It's like it's what I was saying earlier. It's like, you know that they're working on different prototypes, but just to think that they're focusing, okay, we're going to solve this issue. That's what I'm saying. I think that they're trying to do. They're trying to be they really want this to be indistinguishable from reality, and it's kind of, I guess, leads credibility to what Elon Musk was saying. Once you get to that point, then you kind of have to assume that we're in a reality of some sort, right? How do we know that
Right.
that's the dream, right? To go into VR and have it look just like this and see everything, the full scope of my FOV, and have the even better eyesight. I just think we're on the edge of really cool nightmare. It's crazy how quickly things are moving, and I think
Yeah.
that it also proves that AI is really pushing most of these problems and solving shit that I think is now attainable because of it.
O'Doyle asked if I got my haptic vest yet. Not yet. Very, very soon though. Stay tuned. Next time you see me, I'll have it.
What's your
Um,
first game you want to try it on?
Probably Saints and Sinners.
Gonna
To
be
be
good.
honest,
Yeah,
because I've been meaning to play that one for the patrons anyway, by request. So it all kind of lines up. That'll probably be the first one. Although typically, when you're demoing new hardware, the go-to is always Half-Life Alyx, right? So we might do a few minutes of Half-Life Alyx just to get that kind of ultra immersive experience right off the top.
it's crazy.
Jim Hall says all of these features require a lot of power. Yes, none of them are anywhere near being ready for a consumer device, especially when you talk about getting it down into the form factor that it would need to be for mass adoption. And that kind of plays into the next headline. Meta building Mirror Lake compact varifocal concept with hollow cake lenses. So basically they showed us about 6 or 7 different prototype headsets, all with each with their own thing that they bring to the table, their own problem that they tackle. So the next thing that they're building, according to them, or they're aiming to build, is this thing called Mirror Lake, the next prototype. And the idea here is to take all of the technologies on display through these other headsets, put them all into one headset, which is barely bigger than a pair of swim goggles, lightweight, with good battery life, comfortable to wear for hours.
I like it.
That's the goal, right?
That's
That's
the goal.
what they're working on building.
Well, it's good. It means that their goal is what we want it to be. It needs to be so comfortable that you almost don't feel like you're wearing it. And then at that point, because that's my biggest thing right now in summertime, of course, or whatever. It's just like, I want it to be lighter. I don't want to feel like I'm not even wearing anything. Like, oh my God, I've got my VR on. I forgot. Shit. It's not happening right now, right? It's just, it's in you go back 5 years ago and you're like, what are you talking about? This is the bee's knees. But I think that it's attainable, and it's cool that, there's so many things, so many facets of it.
Well, this is what really got me thinking, Roots, is, well, first of all, some of these features we've known about for a while, specifically varifocal. We've been trumpeting the virtues of varifocal on our channel for years now, looking forward to this technology as a game changer for VR. I found an interesting, Roots, that when they were talking specifically about varifocal, that they still said that this technology is 5 to 7 years out. Now, the whole time that I've been a VR enthusiast, we have gotten updates on varifocal yearly. And the funny thing is we've always gotten the same update every year. They always say it's 5 to 7 years out, and that has not changed. Not at all. Even though they have working prototypes right now, like Half Dome 3, I'm not convinced they couldn't do Half Dome 3 as a consumer headset today. They've had that technology for so long. I don't think that they want to just ship varifocal by itself as a new feature, though, because it's not something like overt. It's a subtle thing, right? The realism that you're going to get from varifocal isn't something that sells hardware, so they can't really justify, from a commercial standpoint, putting a new headset out there just for varifocal. So, first of all, I found that very interesting that apparently the timeline hasn't changed on varifocal according to these guys, but I'm starting to not believe them. I think they could do it right now.
Yeah, well, maybe somebody else will do it first. Hopefully, maybe we'll get to a point where it won't be them pushing it. Long time.
Anyway, when they started talking about this Mirror Lake headset, very clear that this is not something that's going to be out within the next decade for consumers. Like this is long term stuff, right? This is the end game. This is where we always thought VR would go, right? A cloud-based device that's very small, very powerful, that has realistic, vision in it that you can't really tell the difference between real life and what you see in the headset. This is where we've always kind of pointed to that the thing is going. So I find it very interesting, Roots, that they're pointing to this as their next thing. What does that say, Roots? If the long-term end goal is the next thing for Meta, doesn't that point to a shift in philosophy from what Meta's doing? Because I think that that's exactly what we're seeing here. I think the days of Meta seeding the internet, pouring endless amounts of money into the space to kickstart it, I think that's over. I think that the industry is now kickstarted, and I think Meta is shifting now to long-term goals as opposed to short-term goals. Am I reading this wrong?
No, that's exactly what it sounds like to me. I mean, they've done it. They've got it in the mass. They got VR out there, and now they want to focus on the end game. They want to be in control of it, as much as they can. And I like their goals I like varifocal lenses. I like all these things. I want it to be indistinguishable from real life. And it looks like they're getting it done.
Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting strategy, right? It's kind of brilliant that they dump all this money into seeding the VR industry, and then they step back, let it grow on its own. But the whole time that all these other companies are coming in and building the metaverse, so to speak, they're taking a back seat and preparing, right, for when they get back in. And I imagine when Meta gets fully back in to the fray, and don't misunderstand me, like Quest 2 is still going to be around, Quest 3, Cambria, they're going to still continue to iterate and make small changes to their hardware and remain a player in the VR scene. I just don't think that we're going to see these billions of dollars of investment from them anymore. I think that the investment that they're making now is toward their master stroke at the end game, after the metaverse is established and they become a prominent player in it. I think that that's what they're working on now. I think when this Mirror Lake headset comes out, it'll probably be a few years sooner than anyone expects it to come out, and it'll blow away everything on the market when it finally gets here.
Yeah, crazy times for sure.
Paradise Decay asked, who else is taking a back seat and preparing?
My mom!
Oh yeah, she's definitely taking a back seat for sure.
So why, Roots? And this was kind of the biggest takeaway. After you watch, there was literally hours and hours and hours and hours of content that Meta put out there through all these different tech channels, detailing all of their prototype technology and exactly how it works. I mean, they're pretty much giving away trade secrets that they have protected for years, putting it out there on Front Street rather, to the media. Why would they do something like that?
They want it out. Like I said, they want it pushed. I mean, they've decided we're at that point. For whatever reason, there seems to be a rush, right? I think Mother AI, or whatever you want to call it, demands some blood and wants it done now. And I just think that they want to be in control. So it's crazy.
I think you're beating around the correct bush there. See, I didn't understand this at first. Why would they just give away everything that they have and just put it right out there? But when you think about it, and I want to shout out Brad Lynch and Jimmy Bowers for kind of pointing me down the right mindset here with this. When you think about it, it's pretty obvious what they're doing here. Like, to this point, that they've spent ungodly amounts of money in research and development, and now they're getting to the point where they don't want to do that anymore. So they're putting they're putting this research out there so that someone else will pick up the ball and run with it. So they put their problems out there that they face. They showed us their end goal with this mirror lake. This is what we want to get to. Here's all the different technologies that we want to put into this thing. Here's how they work. And here are the problems that keep us from being able to do this today. I think what they're doing here, Roots, is they're saying, hey, if there's anyone out there who thinks that they can help us make this a reality, hit us up. Let's strike a deal. Let's do this thing. I think this is a call for help, Roots.
Yeah, it actually seems like it's definitely a call for something. I'll tell you what, that's actually good thought. And I think somebody's going to come in. There's a lot of people out there that a lot of smart minds out there, right? That'd be love to be involved in it and solve these issues.
Yeah, they need to shrink all of these technologies down and make them more power efficient. And they're looking for not only people to help them with that, but people to invest in that. Because as soon as I had this realization, my mind immediately went to another article that I had just read right before that. And it's kind of our next headline that we're looking at here. And it's not actually a headline. This is actually from Twitter, from a well-respected and highly accurate industry analyst. He put this out this past week. This guy, this Ming Chi Kuo, this guy is dead on pretty much with everything that he predicts with the tech industry. He's known for a lot of his predictions with Apple, but he's also a very reliable source for what's happening in VR. So he put this out last week. Meta's Metaverse hardware headset business slows down. Meta is cutting its shipment forecast by 40% for this year, from what was originally 10 to 11 million units, now down to 7 to 8 million units. Meta holds off on all new headset AR, MR hardware projects after 2024. So this guy's coming out, and again, this came out before Meta laid all their chips on the table and showed all that research off. This came out before that. Basically, the supply chain is suggesting that Meta is pulling back hard with their investments. Not only long-term investments, but short-term investment as well, as their projected sales are basically being slashed by almost half for this year. And anything after 2024, which, by the way, that means anything that's not already pretty much already developed out. They've got their headsets developed out for the next few years, as Cambria is going to come out, then a new Quest headset's going to come out, and then a new version of Cambria is going to come out. That's the roadmap now through 2024. That's going to stay the same. But beyond that, all the stuff we've been hearing about, AR and what Meta wants to do with that, This is all getting taken off the table right now, and Meta is pulling back um, their operation, and most importantly, they're pulling back their up until now endless bankroll
Ooh.
for the VR industry, and they're shelling up. And like I suggested a moment ago, they're going to let this thing sink or swim on its own now, which in a way is exciting because it's going to bring opportunities for competitors to cut out their own slice of the pie, which has largely been meta centric so far. But also, Roots, isn't it a little bit scary when you think it was only 3 years ago that VR was dead? And the whole reason, as we have pointed out today, the whole reason VR isn't dead is because of Meta's endless bankroll. Isn't it a little bit scary to know that that security blanket is being yanked out from under us literally as we speak?
Yeah, I mean, it's almost even worse than that. We're birds that have to fly for the first time and go get our own worms, right? Meta's not providing as much. I guess they're still going to be there, but I mean, and they still want it to succeed, and I think they know it's going to, and that's why they put that out there. Like you said, it's a cry for help, but in a sense, essence, solve some of these issues that. So we want it sooner than later, right? It kind of shows that they're almost putting on the by stepping back, they're putting on the gas instead of by giving it all out there and now letting everybody kind of, rush for those things. So I don't know.
Yeah, it's frightening. Now, obviously, I believe in the tech. I believe in Sony. I believe in Valve. I believe in Apple. I believe in these other companies that are going to take VR into the next era. Hell, I mean, I believe in Meta at that. Um, but I'd be lying if I said it wasn't at least a little uncomfortable to know that that security blanket's gone now, and it's going to VR is either going to sink or swim on its own merits, and for the
Swim.
first time in a couple of years, Roots, we've got some uncertainty heading our way with regards to our technology.
I think we're in a good spot though. Like if the PlayStation VR 2 wasn't right around the corner and we didn't know that Sony's got so much invested, and then Valve as well, I think the big players that are going to now rise or are going to have to rise, I think are already in the works. And I think that's probably another reason why Meta's doing what they're doing. So
Paradise Decay asks, is Meta flexing or are they stirring the VR pot? So basically, what you're asking me here, PD, is the whole focus of this episode. This is the whole reason that we've taken this long scenic route down the state of VR, is so that we could answer this question that you're asking. And I think they're stirring the pot, but they're doing a lot more than that. Like we've been basically saying, I think they've been stirring the pot for years now, and they're basically they're letting that baby bird fly away now just to see if it comes back. Right? We all knew that the type of investment that Meta has been putting into VR was not sustainable. To be quite honest, I've been quite astounded at just how much money that they've continued to pour into it. So it's not surprising that they're pulling back. To be honest, I'm quite surprised that that they didn't do this sooner. But again, it's an exciting time. But again, the lack of certainty now, it's there. It's in the back of your mind. It makes you wonder. Are we going to be asking in a year from now, is VR dead? Just like we were a few years back.
are we going to be playing Ubisoft titles and all these Oculus funded stuff, right? I mean, I don't, it's not going anywhere, but where are these titles, man? Like, I want to play some Splinter Cell and some Assassin's Creed and our beloved GTA 5, or I guess not 5, but San Andreas, right? Where's that?
Yeah, I'm sure we'll hear more about that stuff soon. Um, Hold on while I take care of our number. Thank you, PD, for taking care of our resident sex bot there. Although it's good to see you, Naked HD Sexbot. We missed you last week.
We did. We miss you every time.
Anyway, no, I'm confident going forward. Actually, I'm very confident in PlayStation VR 2. I think that it's going to be the industry driver from in terms of gaming and entertainment for the next several years. So, yeah, I'm not too concerned that Meta seems to be taking a back seat. In fact, if we look back, Roots, we've seen this coming for some time now. We actually noticed the shift in attitude from Meta back at Connect in October, and that's kind of what this next headline kind of points at, called "Building the Metaverse Responsibly." This is a on the Meta website, and if you scroll down to where it says takeaways, this was basically the takeaway from Connect this past year, and it was a change in it was a change in approach from Meta. Instead of them trying to be the overlord controlling every little aspect of VR, for the first time we heard Meta say this, that the metaverse won't be built overnight by a single company. We'll collaborate with policymakers, experts, and industry partners to bring this to life. We're announcing $50 million investment in global research and program partners to ensure these products are developed responsibly. So, way back in October, Meta made their shift in when they became Meta instead of Facebook, instead of Oculus. They had this shift in attitude where they started for the first time really to welcome the rest of the tech world into their bubble and asking other people to help, while they still plan, obviously, to remain the leader in terms of direction. Obviously, they want to control the direction that things go, but they've come to this realization that it's not sustainable for them to try to do this all by themselves. And I think that what we've seen out of them over the last couple of weeks is just a continuation of this philosophy that they started back late last year.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's going to be a crazy couple of years, but I think it's going to be good for everybody. I think it's good moves. I want varifocal lenses today, not 5-7 years though.
And you people may be asking, well, where did that $50 million investment to global research and program partners go to? Whatever became of that? Well, I think the next headline kind of plays at that, as we have just seen that major XR players have joined the new Metaverse Forum to cooperate on foundational standards. So we're all going to be building the metaverse together. And as you can see on the screen right there, everyone is agreeing to collaborate on the establishment of the metaverse. I see Meta, I see Qualcomm, I see Unity, I see Microsoft, I see Sony and Nvidia, I see Adobe. Basically, all the major players from the tech space are coming together and agreeing on a set of principles and terms, a set of standards to build the metaverse around. And if there ever was a telltale sign that VR isn't going to go anywhere, that the metaverse concept is going to pan out, I think that this is it. I mean, when's the last time you saw all of these different competitors, in this kind of numbers, agreeing to collaborate on something? It's really epic proportions, isn't it?
It is, absolutely. I think the last time was right after COVID hit, and there was that advertisement scheme across the board. We're all in this together. That was very concerted. But what's weird is things I don't even think of IKEA. I don't think it shows you that everybody wants to get in. My son's been buying and selling NFTs, images. I don't know what the hell he's talking about, but he's making money on it. This is prime. Like, this is like a gold rush all over again. People see money and they want to be in on it. And I think at some point it sounds ridiculous, but the Ready Player One experience where you're going to buy some NFT, some cool badass suit skin that you get to be cool in this metaverse. And that's only one little aspect of it. It's just crazy to think about that we're like on this edge of it, right?
Yeah, man. and time will move quickly now. That standards are being established and game plans are being formed. We already know, and we've detailed week after week after week after week all the money from different sources that are coming into the concept, to the tech space. Um, so yeah, while there is again some trepidation and uncomfortable feelings that come with Meta pulling back in such a hard and abrupt fashion, I think that the metaverse, I think that the tech is in very good hands. And with that in mind, we move to our last headline and our last article of this little trip that we're taking here. And I am going to read from this one quite a bit because really, the whole hour that we've been on the air has just been me building up to this article right here and what it means. New growth focus of the VR headset industry in look at that term, Roots, the post meta era.
Ooh,
Congratulations,
we
haters.
did it.
We're now moving into the post meta era for VR. Meta's competitors, the Chinese market and the Apple supply chain. This again from Ming Shi Kao. I don't know how to pronounce the last bit. Again, very respected and accurate supply chain analyst for the tech space. So, starting with the conclusion, one of the keys to the VR industry's rapid growth in the past 2 or 3 years is that Meta sold VR headsets at a loss and aggressively promoted its VR business. The VR industry ecosystem has now matured. So even if Meta currently slows down its investment in Reality Labs and VR business, it will not hinder the VR industry's continuous growth. Meta's VR hardware investment cut will benefit other VR headset brands amid the VR industry's continuous growth. In addition, the vast potential demand in the Chinese market and in Apple AR/MR, which will likely be announced in January, will also favor the continued rapid growth of the headset sector. 2. Meta is slowing down its hardware investment, mainly reducing VR hardware investment and postponing server orders due to the economic recession. But it's also worth noting that Meta's VR headset order cut is also due to the risk of recession caused by the structural challenges in its core business of advertising and social platform. However, the demand for VR and gaming multimedia entertainment has been proven, and the continuous growth of the VR industry is a clear trend. Meta sells VR headsets at a loss and uses the price advantage to gain a high market share. But this strategy is unsustainable amid the risk of core business recession, which will benefit other existing VR brands' market share gain. New structural changes in the VR headset industry are emerging, including Meta's slowdown in VR hardware investment, which is beneficial to other existing VR headset brands. 2. China's VR industry started slower than the overseas markets, but the hardware and content service markets are growing rapidly. 3. The establishment of the Metaverse Standards Forum favors the industry's growth. 4. Apple is a game changer for the VR headset industry. The current VR headset brands worthy of attention include Sony, Microsoft, Valve, Pico, and HTC. Sony's influence in the gaming multimedia entertainment industry is more potent than that of Meta. I'll say that again so everyone can hear it. Sony's influence in the gaming and multimedia entertainment industry is more potent than that of Meta. PSVR 2 will likely release in Q1 2023, and the supply chain is set to ship about 1.5 million units in the second half of this year. So it looks like we're going to have 1.5 million to 2 million units ready to ship when they launch early next year. It is expected to see more AAA game titles will support Sony's PSVR 2 in the future, which will boost the influence of VR headsets in the gaming and multimedia entertainment industry. So basically, Roots, what he's saying here is while Meta's pulling back due to recession fears, this is going to benefit everyone else, and especially Sony, as gaming and multimedia entertainment continues to be the driver of the tech, and no one's in a better position to take advantage of that sector than Sony.
Yeah, absolutely. And it doesn't bode as well for all the people that aren't going to have the Sony headset. You know, even though there is going to be good games and stuff, but I still don't think people get the difference in experience or depth in most of these games you're going to get with the PlayStation VR. And I think it's good. It's good for everybody. The evil empires having to take a step back and let everybody else flourish, right?
Exactly, and everyone else will as we finish this article up. Pico is China's leading VR headset brand and growing rapidly. So Pico now has overtaken HTC, interestingly, and is now the leading headset brand in China, benefiting from the huge potential demand in China. Pico VR headset shipment will increase 40 to 50% year over year to 1 to 1.5 million units this year. Meta's slowdown in VR hardware investment again helps Pico grow in the non-Chinese markets as well. But that said, HTC's VR headset shipment also increasing 30 to 40% year over year this year. And HTC's non-Chinese market again will benefit from Meta's slowdown in VR hardware investment. And the cooperation that they have with Lenovo Research will also help HTC's VR business to grow globally, especially in China. Microsoft set to release a new HoloLens in the second half of this year, and Valve is also currently developing a new headset. Both will be beneficial to the overall VR industry. And then last but not least, as we've mentioned many times, Apple will be a game changer for headsets. Although Apple has repeatedly reiterated its focus on AR, I believe that Apple AR MR supporting video see-through could also offer an excellent immersive experience. Therefore, the launch of Apple XR will further boost the demand for immersive gaming multimedia entertainment. Apple XR would be the most complicated product that Apple has ever designed. So many existing suppliers are also in the Apple supply chain. Benefiting from Apple's innovative experience, Apple and the Apple supply chain would be re-rated in the next 2 to 3 years, which favors the stock price. Apple is an industry leader with significant competitive advantages and doesn't need to join the Metaverse Standards Forum at this time. After Apple launches the AR MR headset, I think Apple's global rivals will compete to imitate it, leading the headset hardware industry to the next stage of rapid growth and benefiting the related services and content ecosystem. So basically what he's saying is not only will Apple's emergence into the VR sphere kind of spur further demand from a gaming and digital entertainment perspective, but they're also going to kind of drive the hardware market over the next several years as knockoffs start to pop up that try to imitate their very expensive, very highly complicated machine that they plan to put out early next year. So that wraps it up. Roots, the post Meta era. What do you think?
I think it's exciting. I don't think anybody's really mastered Netflix or media watching in that form, like, you know what I mean, in VR yet. And I think maybe that's where Apple is just going to blow people away. You're going to want to go watch Netflix in your Apple device. It's going to be next level. Who knows? I think it's super exciting though.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't think anybody will deny that. Tumultuous times, yet exciting times. The post-Meta era is at hand, and it's here today. Now, Meta laying all of their cards on the table. accepting new friendships and new partnerships, but they're taking their ball and going home, man. And by their ball, I mean their bank account. So it's sink or swim time for the industry, and that's okay though because I think the industry's up to the challenge.
Yeah, it's definitely up to the challenge. They set up we're in a really good spot because the demand is now there. You know what I mean? Like even the people that have came into VR, they want things to go further than where we're at. You know, with a lot of mobile games, we want the depth, we want the crazy movie experience. I want a reason to go back to a Hollywood movie again because the scripts scripts aren't there mostly. You know, you get maybe a Maverick or Top Gun or whatever every once in a while, but yeah, the writing is horrible. Give me some other reason.
Yeah, no, right. Excuse me. Anyway, time quickly ticking down here, Roots. So why don't we make our way through a few well, let's talk some games, but let's talk about it in the context of free stuff and killer deals. It's been a while since we did one of these, and it's not going to be the full long form free stuff and killer deals. It's going to be mostly deals, but I would like to point everyone's attention to something pretty cool. Cybrix is a VR version of what's it called? Arkanoid? I forget what the game's called. It's an old school game. It's a VR version of it, developed by a very talented studio in Holonautic. And you remember these guys? These are the guys that did Holoception. Anyway, why are we talking about Cybrix? Well, we're talking about Cybrix because it's a bit of a unicorn right now, as it is a free Oculus Quest game. That's right. If you pick up Cybrix in the month of June, you don't have to pay for it. They're giving it away right now for 100% free. All you got to do is search for it. It is an App Lab title, so make sure you spell it correctly and that you scroll all the way down and click on the little App Lab thing. But yeah, man, Cybrix is free right now, and you can't beat free, Roots.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll tell you what you don't want to have happen. You don't want to put this off for 5 days and then July 1st, like, oh shit, let me pick up Cybrix. Because that's how I would end up doing it. And then you're like, now it's not free. Pick it up now. Super cool. I love like Breakaway or that type of stuff, right? Those type of games. It's the reason why they worked so well and they work so well in VR.
Thank you, Sion. He says it's Arkanoid VR. Thank you. Exactly. It's also free. So everybody pick up your free Quest game while you still can. 4 more days left on this one before they put the price back on there.
Yep.
Anyway, Roots, 'tis the season for summer sales, and yeah, the summer sale season is in full swing, and Oculus Quest is participating in this heavily this year, which is cool because typically the Quest titles are the most expensive titles in the entire VR lexicon. So as we take a quick look, I see that the Star Wars Tales from the Galaxy's Edge is on a 28% discount. That's a pretty significant deal. Anything on here that sticks out to you, Roots?
A lot of things stick out to me. For one, everything on here is on sale. Like the Steam sale, everybody was talking about the summer sale, Steam sale. There's games on there like Beat Saber or whatever, and they're not even on sale. And you're like, why are this in this list? And besides the fact, somebody said 11 Table Tennis wasn't in there. They were really bummed out. Well, that person, I can't remember who you were. Now you can get it for 30% off, it looks like. These are all banger titles, right? These are all games that you would want to buy anyway. Demio, Pistol Whip, After the Fall, 30%
Pop
off.
one.
Pop One. I mean, the Room VR. Everybody loves that game. That's a shitload of good games, man. This is actually I hate to say this, but I think this is a better list of most than the summer sale was that impressive to me for the Steam VR sale. But that's just me.
And this is probably the biggest sale that I've seen on the Quest store. I mean, Moss is on sale. Jurassic World Aftermath is on a significant discount. You can get Rush for $12 right now. You can get Myst for $18 right now.
Trover, $20.
Yeah,
21. That's crazy.
Vox Machina is on sale. Sniper Elite Roots is on sale for $21.
Yeah, that's a lot
Just
of good.
incredible deals. There's a lot of great games.
Yep, absolutely.
But speaking of Steam, let's flip over there really quickly because this is kind of the big mythical sale year in and year out. Steam, Roots, I do think that there's a lot of really good deals on the Steam titles. They're just so much harder to find because of all of the titles that are on Steam. There's a lot of garbage on there. And literally, like most stuff is on sale right now. So right offhand, I can tell you that Half-Life Alyx is half off. That's a pretty big deal. Hitman 3 is 60% off. You can get Hitman 3 for $24 right now, Roots.
Damn, dude, that's a good deal. Talk about that right there between those two games. You got like what, 100+ hours at least.
Oh yeah, man, for sure. And then I mean, Boneworks is on sale. Fallout 4 is like what, $15 for Fallout 4 right now. Amazing game.
See, this is what I was talking about. Blade and Sorcery and Beat Saber. They're not on sale, but they're somehow on this list. I don't understand. Mash Point.
They're just such a good deal to begin with, bro.
Crazy.
Into the Radius, $21. After the Fall, $28. I mean, just hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of VR games on sale. There's no way we could cover all of them. Some of them going for like a buck or two.
Fallout 4, $15. Jesus.
Yeah, man.
That's
I know, right?
Got to pick that up right there. That's worth it.
And I've been playing that, and even though that's an old title, I've been playing it. It's one of the best games I've ever played. It's so good.
You haven't even modded it yet. Once you mod it, it's going to make it even better.
Walking Dead Saints and Sinners, $22.
Yeah.
Anyway,
super good deal. Yeah.
You guys be sure to check out these sales this week. There's also a great deal of PlayStation VR games on sale as well. But that's a little more common, right? The PSVR games are always on sale. You don't typically see this big of a sale on Steam, and I don't know if I've ever seen such a big sale on Quest titles. So you guys let us know what you bought in the description, or I'm sorry, in the comments down below. Let us know on Discord what the sales are. Let's talk about it. Let's buy some games, guys.
Yep.
All right, so that's going to wrap up free stuff and killer deals and bring us into the week's reminders. Roots, I don't know if you know this, but we've got some stuff coming out this week. One's Alliances from Cortopia Studios coming to the Quest 2 exclusively on June 30th. So, Roots, this is a resurrection of the versus multiplayer spellcasting apps that we saw in VR's early days. Certainly a concept before its time, and so it'll be interesting to see if now the ecosystem has progressed enough for a game like this to be sustainable on the Quest 2 store. It certainly looks like a fun game.
I think it's doing a lot of things right. Like the biggest problem they solved, which was, I think, if I'm not mistaken, it was only one-on-one. And that, for me, I'm like, I'm out. I need somebody else to hide behind. I need someone else to do well, and then I'll slide right in for the victory. But so 3v3 sounds a lot more fun to me than 1v1. But so super cool.
Yeah, looking forward to checking this one out. Again, coming to Quest 2 June 30th, so 4 days.
Oh wow.
Wandering in Space from Moonseer Games is set to hit early access Steam VR the same day, June 30th, this Thursday. Interesting looking game here, Roots, from an indie VR studio. Roguelike shooter with a lot of cool different adventure elements. Interestingly, another game that is slated to come to PSVR 2, which I think is certainly interesting. But this game hitting early access this week, and even though the developer claims that this game is probably only about halfway done right now, what they've got here supposedly, or at least it looks like it could be pretty good.
I hope so. It looks pretty cool. The premise for sure. I definitely like. Who doesn't love seeing, aliens walking around? It reminded me. What was that movie Signs? Like when, it's like he's watching the TV and the alien just kind of walks back and forth.
Yeah.
But no, looks pretty cool, man. And guns look pretty cool. Hopefully they shoot well.
Yeah. So we're going to be checking this one out. So again, if you haven't already, click the button, ring the bell, and we'll let you know. Is it good? Is it bad? Is it going to be good? Stay tuned. We're going to let you know.
Mom, I'm racing in Formula One! call me how realistic this is?
Oh, no. This is so insane. What is this? I'm in an F1 car.
F1 2022 Sim enthusiasts rejoice. It is time. Codemasters' latest offering to the racing sim spectrum lands this Friday, I think, or Saturday, July 1st. F1 2022 lands. The time is here, Roots. You excited for this one?
I think it's going to be very cool. I don't have a wheel, so I'm not excited in that respect. But as long as I can race it normal with a controller, I think it looks really cool. It's very fast paced. And my only trepidation is Codemaster, because they have weirdness with their servers, or have in the past with Dirt Rally 2, and so hopefully there's no weirdness with the server, and hopefully there's no weirdness in general. But the game, it looks like my type of racing. So.
Yeah, and I watched GT play this the other day, and it looked really, really good. He was certainly very, very impressed by it. So for that reason, for no other reason than that, I'm certainly interested. You've got my attention, Codemasters. Paradise Decay in the chat says that he featured the Wandering in Space that we were just talking about a moment ago, and that he loved it, and that there's supposedly 10 hours available of gameplay in the game as it exists right now. So
that's only 50%. Oh
yeah,
crazy. 10 hours is good. This is the thing. If you have a game that's basis that is 10 hours long and it's fun, why not release it as you're working on it, right?
Well, they emailed me earlier today just to make sure that I know that like the first hour or so of the game is just prologue. So I need to keep going a little bit. Don't just check a few minutes out. I guess they don't know our channel. We're not that guy that does a few minutes and then makes a snap decision. But yeah, man, I'm looking forward to checking it out. It looks really cool.
Oh, sounds good. I'm with you.
Anyway, those are the games that are on my radar that we know are coming this week. But there's another one that was probably slated for this week. Might not drop this week, but I would say within the next couple of weeks, we're going to have this one.
Here we go now.
Super Kit, the long-awaited follow-up to VR Classic To the Top, has made an appearance on the Steam VR Coming Soon list, Roots, from Electric Hat Games, coming to Steam Early Access, and where the date would be for when it's going to be released, it just says in all capital letters, soon. So I was wondering how soon. And so I took to the Electric Hats Discord, and it looks like they were aiming to hit early access this week, Roots. But, you know, upon, you know how that goes. Complications occur, and it looks like this one might actually get pushed back till next week. But I'm pretty confident in saying that within the next, 2 weeks, maybe 3 tops, Super Kit To the Top is going to be in early access on Steam.
I can't. That's exciting. It looks super cool. Radio Run says looks better than Stride. I 100% agree. I think it looks amazing, and it looks like what you would hope a proper sequel to an amazing game would look like, right? You want elements of the first game that was and is still amazing, Still don't know why it's not on the official Quest 2 store. But
Well, you're talking about To the Top. You know, it's
yeah,
interesting that you say that because they listed. They have like a full early access roadmap listed on the Steam page, and they're talking quite a bit about it on the Electric Hat Discord. And apparently, this game, this follow up, this sequel, not in development for Oculus Quest.
wow.
So this is a PC game.
Hmm.
It's confirmed going to be a PSVR 2 game, not in development for Quest.
Well, you know, what I have one thing to say to the developers. I 100% understand. Like, you make a game, the first one that should be on the actual store, and they won't put it on there. Like, are you rushing to put it out for that platform, or are you pretty much saying I that's not worth fucking with because they screwed us? Whatever happened, I don't know, man. I just think it To the Top should be on everybody's headset, and it's not because of it's being forced into a ecosystem that it just it's weird. But this is amazing. I'm definitely gonna be picking it up on day one.
Yeah, can't wait to play this one, and luckily not going to have to wait very long at all. Anyway, that's going to wrap up this week's releases and bring us to our next reminder. It's that time again, friends, where we ask you to take a moment of your time and please do your part to support the developers out there as we all go together right now and wishlist the title in real time on your platform of choice. And looking back over what's coming soon, Roots, I think it's pretty obvious. What I'm going to wishlist this week, I'm going to wishlist Super Kit To the Top on Steam.
I'm trying. I swear I can't. It won't open for some reason. Okay. Why is it always a problem? You know.
Anyway, this is a very easy, quick and easy thing that you can do that makes a world of difference to these developers and these studios out there. Is it helps to raise the profile for these upcoming titles, and allows them to have a more prominent place on the store. It really ups their chances of being successful if people wishlist their title, if people leave reviews after they play. These things are huge for the developers, and that's the reason why we feature this segment every week, because it's a very quick and easy thing that we can do, and it makes a world of difference to these studios.
Yeah, I absolutely. When I'm able to open up Steam, I promise I'm gonna go right to the page and do it. But it definitely, it's so easy. It's such an easy thing, and why would you not want to have it wish listed? If you're like me, you're gonna forget, and then you're gonna, oh shit, it's out. Although that's on the devs. Make sure we don't forget. It's too good a thing to not forget.
Coming soon, Roots. All capital letters.
Oh, well, there you go. I'll tell you what, I want to play it right now. Soon is not soon enough.
Anyway, it's on my wish list. You guys be sure to let us know what you wish listed this week. All right, let me get my stupid format up here and see what's left. Oh, of course, our final reminder this week and every week, and that is how you can help us grow our community, help us grow our channel. How you can support us. Of course, if you haven't already, the best thing you could do, subscribe. Click the big red button. But if you do that, be sure to ring the bell as well so that you can be notified when we go live with more awesome VR related content. Of course, if you're already subscribed and you want to do a little something more, you can support us on Patreon. $3 per month, that's all we ask. Less than $1 per week. And you will get access to our weekly show notes. You'll get access to insider updates, exclusive content. Again, all for less than $1 per week. And you get the peace of mind that comes with knowing that you did your part to help build our community, help build our channel. And again, as always, shout out to our Patreon supporters out there. You guys are awesome, and we really appreciate your contribution.
Absolutely. Couldn't do it without you. Like, you guys are actually more important than you know.
And last but not least, we'd like to invite you into our home. Our home being the Virtual Strangers Discord channel. You'll find an invitation link down below, and that's your pathway. That's your way in to where we are 24/7, 365. We're always hanging out on Discord, talking about VR, talking about the world, getting together, playing multiplayer games. It's where we hang out. It's a family atmosphere, and we invite you to join us on there. So if you haven't already, be sure to click the invitation down below, and we'll see you there.
Yeah, come home. Like we always say, wipe your feet. Don't be weird.
Cerebral Frost joining us in the chat, which is actually the lead developers of Super Kit to the Top. Welcome, friend. Thank you for joining us.
Yes,
good to see you.
Absolutely. Thank you for your amazing game. It looks awesome.
So it's a little discussion looks like going around here about Super Kit. Although I'm kind of late to the party because I didn't see when people started talking about it. I missed it, bro. I missed it.
You missed it. Well, that's what the replays for, right?
Okay, so they put a link up when we were doing the wish list segment. So how about that? Thanks for the help, PD.
Yeah, I don't know. I still don't understand why Steam isn't. It's like so far my one thing that I would say about Windows 11, which I reinstalled, and that could be Windows 10 because that's happened to me before. I don't know. Weird.
Onakazi makes a good point. Says, I'm really looking forward to hearing the soundtrack. To the Tops was way better than it had any right to be. Yeah, To the Tops soundtrack was amazing. And Cerebral Frost adds that it's not going to be ready quite when the thing launches into early access.